Well, hello there, beautiful teachers. It's so great to be back with you again. Thank you so much if you're joining me live or on the replay. Today we're going to be talking about makeup lessons. And first I want to tell you a little bit about makeup lessons that I've discovered recently, a little bit of a story. So I used to make up my lessons. I used to try and reschedule things, and I would do everything to please someone, and really it just led me down a bad path. And as I started teaching full time, I learned better ways, which I'm going to teach you today. But the thing about makeup lessons that happened to me recently is that my concert is actually on a Saturday. Now, I teach on a Saturday. So since my concert is on a Saturday and I teach on a Saturday as well, I've had to reschedule those lessons, which I do because obviously it's me rescheduling. I had to set the concert on this Saturday. That's not their fault, right? So I have been rescheduling some of those lessons and I hate it. It's terrible. I hate having to reschedule lessons. I hate having to rejig my whole timetable or figure things out or squish things into a break. Oh no, I'm losing my breaks. All that stuff. So it's made me appreciate even more my great makeup processes and that I don't do that to myself in general anymore. And I'm hoping I can do the same for you today if you're still offering makeups, or maybe just bolster your confidence that you're doing it the right way already. So first we're going to talk about the 3 woes of makeup lessons. And the first one is lost income. Now, the thing about offering makeups is it creates this mentality with your piano parents that actually they are entitled to those lessons, that they are entitled to a certain number of lessons that they have paid for and that is what they're paying for. And we'll deal more with that mindset shift later. But just thinking about it like that means that if they have to miss a lesson and you can't reschedule it, if it is impossible, you're going to lose that income, right? Because that's the only logical way to look at it, is you're going to have to refund it, you're going to take it off their next bill, you're going to have to do something to make up for that. So if that's the case, then you're losing money. Yikes, you're a business owner, you shouldn't be losing money, you should be making it. Number 2, woe number 2, is that you're losing time. And this is it's such a big one for me. Because if you're losing time, yes, you might be losing even time from potential teaching time because you have to leave spots open because you have to reschedule into them. Oh my gosh. But way worse than that is if you are rescheduling lessons into your personal time. You're missing time with family. You're missing time to just sit on the couch and stare at the wall if that's what you want to do if you're tired, or to binge on Netflix, or to practice the piano yourself, or to go for a walk, or to exercise, or to have energy to do anything. You're losing time. And that's such a shame. That's terrible. You shouldn't be eating into your personal time. It doesn't matter if you have something scheduled for that time or not. It is your downtime and you have to preserve it. So that's woe number 2 of offering makeup lessons. And the final side of this, the reason why they're so bad is actually it eats into your mind, right? It brings on guilt trips. And we all know teachers are some of the worst for wanting to please people, being too nice, right? We're generally very, very nice people. And there are some downsides to that, because when we can't reschedule a lesson or when we're trying to do it, we're feeling guilty. We feel like we should be doing it. We feel like we need to do this for them and like we've let people down when we don't do it. And that's a painful feeling. And that's eating away at your confidence, at your ability to perform other tasks because you're distracted by feeling guilty because you didn't make up Susie's lesson when she was sick or whatever. Oh my gosh, such a waste of our brain space. And we need to solve these problems today. So I talked more about this in a post on the blog just the other day, which you can find at colourfulkeys.ie/makeup. That's all one word, by the way. So colourfulkeys.ie/makeup. And there I talk about makeup lessons. And I talk about 2 pivots we need to make in order to stop offering makeup lessons, okay? The first pivot is the most important one and the one I don't see people talking about. I know some great articles about going to know makeup, such as Wendy Stevens. She has a wonderful course, I believe, on it now, and she has a great blog post about making changes like this, and it's fantastic. But there's something I see coming up behind people's comments again and again when it comes to makeup lessons in Facebook groups, in emails I get through, in comments in other places, and in forums. And that is that they haven't got their mindset right. They haven't figured out how to think about makeup lessons. And the thing that's really key here is that they still think that they should be offering them, even when they're not. What they think is, behind everything, their sort of thought process seems to be, they are entitled to these lessons, but it's impossible, it's too much for me to offer them. And that's wrong. They are not entitled to those lessons if you think about it a certain way. You need to think about it as them enrolling in your studio, not paying you for a certain number of lessons. And if they are enrolling in your studio and everything that you provide around that, then there's no reason for them to get a makeup lesson. That's not the way you should be thinking about it. They are not buying half an hour per week with you or 45 minutes a week with you. They are buying, yes, that slot in the week, that space in your timetable which you are reserving for them for a certain number of weeks in the year, and that's extremely valuable. They are also buying your recitals, any resources you provide in your studio, iPad apps that you pay for, any other group classes, any other experiences that are offered as part of your studio, your own professional development that you need to do, like watching this video right now, like watching me. That is part of what they're paying for. And if you can shift the way you think about makeup lessons, it really changes your perspective on the whole thing. And it'll stop you saying things like, but they had to cancel because she was sick, so isn't it fair that I make up that time? No, it's not, because they reserved that slot. Yes, things happen. Kids get sick. No reason to make them feel bad about it, but that doesn't mean that you're supposed to make up that time. It shouldn't. I don't see why it does. And if you really think about it this way, if you change your thinking, it's going to change your whole game. So they are not buying half an hour a week with you. They are buying a place in your studio. They are paying their fees towards a place in your studio and everything that you provide. Even if you don't do recitals, even if you don't do group lessons, you provide other stuff. You do lesson planning, you research different ideas, you look up books that they might like, you play through new student books. Whatever you do, it's not just lesson time, is it? And they are reserving that spot in your week, but they are not entitled to that time every single week. That's not the way it should work, and it's not what's fair. So that's pivot number one that you need to make, and it's the most important and forgotten one. Then you can move to pivot number two. If I've really convinced you, if you really believe me, if you don't, let me know. But if I've really convinced you that what is fair is that they're reserved that slot each week, then you can look at your policies. And this is the one people often jump straight to, which is putting policies in place. And I've said this a few times about policies, but actually, policies can't do your job for you. And as much as we want them to speak for us and do the saying no bit, they can't. You still have to be the one to say no. You still have to enforce them. You still have to remind people they exist. You have to do all the work. Policies are just there as guidelines and as something maybe for you to refer to, but they cannot do the hard job of saying, nope, no, 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 you can't have a reschedule. So set great policies, but just always bear in mind that they cannot do your job for you. You will have to do the saying no bit that we all hate, that I certainly hate myself, and it will have to happen anyway. Now the policies you put in place will be completely up to you. But what I recommend is that you keep it simple. Keep it simple. Don't try and make all sorts of exceptions and rules and all this. I don't have a minimum 24-hour cancellation period because I am never guaranteeing them a reschedule. Never. Okay? It's that simple. I say they can get in touch with me with as much notice as they can provide, and I will attempt to give them a rescheduled lesson if I have another student's cancellation. That's my wording, loosely. So it's only if I have another student's cancellation. And I had a comment from a teacher the other day and she said, I do that, I do exactly what you do. I offer only other students' cancellations, but I'll have so many in the week and then I end up taking them all during the student's cancellation. No, I wouldn't be going out of your way to offer those student cancellations. If someone comes to me with as much notice as they can, they're going to be away, their child is going to be doing a dance competition, whatever's going to happen, I will offer them another slot. Now, a lot of them are so overscheduled that they know they're not going to be able to take another slot, and they completely recognise that, and that's fine. And I will offer it if I have it available, and they know I may not, because students don't cancel very often, actually. So if I have 2 in 1 week, that's fairly unusual that I would be able to offer a slot. So keep your policy simple. It doesn't have to be the same as mine, but it has to be simple. And I don't recommend this whole, you have these group lessons or this experience or that in lieu of a makeup. No, take makeups out of the equation because you want them to not feel entitled to it. Putting these exceptions in place feels like it's going to cushion the blow, it's going to make the transition easier. But honestly, I don't think it will. I think you just need to make the hard decision that no more makeups, and frame it from their perspective. Tell them why it's going to be better for them. Because it is, because you're going to be less stressed. Because their child is going to be receiving equal attention all the time. Or they are, if they're an adult student. So, frame it from their perspective and just make the switch all the way. That's what I recommend anyway. Put those policies in place, try to stick to them, and get rid of these 3 hideous pain points of makeup lessons, because it's totally not worth it. It's not worth it wreaking havoc on your schedule like these few reschedules have on a Saturday afternoon, from a Saturday afternoon for my concert. Literally, I've moved like 4 students and I'm like, oh, my schedule is so messy next week. I hate it. So I hope this was helpful for you. It's great to see that Kate is commenting here. She says, it took me some time, but I've implemented this in my studio. And it is changing. That's fantastic, life-changing. That's wonderful, Kate. And Kathy, excuse me. And I hope this video will inspire more of you to move to no makeups as well, or something that works for you, something that makes sense to you, and that maybe what I said about it being fair, and it really is fair not to offer makeups, will hit home at some stage. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions at all, and make sure to subscribe while you're here because I'd love to see you live on the next one. Bye for now.